Now, that was an easier case to make when Joe Biden was in there because people associate Joe Biden with the policies. But I think Kamala Harris clearly owns the policies of the Biden-Harris administration, especially when we consider the fact that, as we've all learned over the last few months, Joe Biden clearly isn't capable of doing the job. And so I think that drives home that Kamala Harris really has been the one calling the shots. I mean, how could she not? I think Joe Biden doesn't really know where he is.
JD Vance has really been, he's surprising me. I've been happy with him. He's very quick on his toes.
Well, because when it's easier when you don't have to hide. The fact that it's hard, the reason why it's so hard for them is because they have to hide so much.
Yeah.
They can't talk, they can't say certain things. And a lot of the reason why she talks in circles is because she's trying not to say something.
Right.
She's trying to say something that can really damage them.
Yeah.
And so she either sounds stupid like she does, or she reveals something that she doesn't want, the party doesn't want her to reveal. So that's the reason why she laughs and talks in circles. But when you feel open to say anything, like Donald Trump talks off prompters. So when you feel comfortable saying anything and you're all right with the fact that you might put your foot in your mouth, then you become off more authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. The reason why I like Trump is because Trump puts his foot in his mouth sometimes, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that makes him
real.
We all do that. I do it on the show.
Yeah.
So we do it all the time.
Make mistakes and stuff like that.
Right. Or we say something that just rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah, and then he's okay with that just happening.
Right.
Anyways, JD Vance did an interview with CNN, I think Dana Bash, and it really didn't go well for her.
Right.
All right, so here we go. Let's take a look.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Senator.
Thank
so
you.
Within a week of you being named on the VP ticket, the Democratic nominee changed. And you guys seem to be struggling a little bit with how to approach the new dynamic. How are you approaching your new opponent and the new ticket?
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty straightforward, actually. We're running against a set of policies that I think have failed the American people, and we're running to a set of policies, President Trump's 4 years in office, that I think really succeeded for the American people. And I think that what's different about it, and you're right, Dana, it is different, but what's different about it is that we're running against a different person who a lot of Americans just don't know. And so I think we have to remind people that President Trump delivered lower prices, lower inflation, a prosperous and peaceful world, and also a secure border. And Kamala Harris's policies have produced the exact opposite. Now, that was an easier case to make when Joe Biden was in there because people associate Joe Biden with the policies. But I think Kamala Harris clearly owns the policies of the Biden-Harris administration, especially when we consider the fact that, as we've all learned over the last few months, Joe Biden clearly isn't capable of doing the job. And so I think that drives home that Kamala Harris really has been the one calling the shots. I mean, how could she not? I think Joe Biden doesn't really know where he is.
Kamala Harris has been calling the shots. As who?
Well, I think she has to have been, right? Because if she's not calling the shots, Dana, then who is? And I do think it drives home something that's fundamentally dishonest.
He just said, and Joe Biden doesn't really know where he is. He came out swing. She didn't even know what to do.
She came out and rudely said, "You guys are struggling."
Where do you see
We're in the
that?
lead.
We're in the. What do you mean?
We're struggling ever since the new, like that was a jab, you know what I mean? And then he came out, I mean, he came out just swinging. I mean, the look on her face when he said, when he just went right in, she looked at him like, oh my God.
What do I do?
She looked at him like, you can see she's visibly looked annoyed.
Right.
You know, like,
and you know they're in her ear, like.
And you know the look on his face, and he's just letting it flow out. You know what I mean? Which I love that because you know he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
You know he also knows that they're left wing and they're going to take a jab at him.
Oh, yeah,
but I love how I love the look on his face. Like throughout, it's like I got her.
I got her.
I got her.
I think that what it is two people, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who aren't comfortable in their own skin because they aren't comfortable with their policy positions for the American people. And so they're name calling instead of actually telling the American people how they're going to make their lives better. I think that's weird, Dana, but look, they can call me whatever they want. I really think that it's important to point this out, Dana. Their entire campaign has not been about, here's our policy for how we're going to make your life better, or here's what's wrong with Donald Trump and JD Vance's policies. We're going to name call and hope that you don't notice that we don't have an agenda. That is the entire Democrat approach to this election.
They have done both. They have both policies, and they are trying to define
Dana,
you as well.
If you go to Kamala Harris's campaign page right now, they still don't have a policy.
Well, let's talk about
policy positions about what they're going to do. I think that's really
so she wanted to interrupt that real quick because at the time of this interview, Kamala Harris's her website, as we say in the other video, there was just like the donation in the front. There was no policy at all. And Trump's actually, I think most campaigns throughout the history of campaigns. They have a website. They've always had their bullet points in the front of what they're going to be doing, and she didn't have that, so she really wanted to stop that.
So I think recently she just did it,
She
like
just
the other
did it, yeah.
day. But I love how this woman. I know that because I know that journalists, they have an earpiece.
Oh yeah.
And I know that they're saying, wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
This is bad.
Next question.
You know
Next
what I mean?
question.
That- move on. This is not good. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show you how left-wing CNN is, because she's actually defending the Democrats and not being like impartial, like not being in the middle of the road, which reporters are supposed to be, so that we can get information honestly.
Right.
But she's actually taking up for Kamala and what's his name, Tim.
Yeah.
And the Democratic Party.
She's not even hiding her bias.
She's not even hiding her bias, right? And I can know that that little earpiece that she has on her heavy side of her hair is like, wrap this up. That no. He's way too comfortable. You got to make him uncomfortable. And he's just not uncomfortable.
Yeah. You said the heavy side of her hair.
Yeah, the heavy side. That's where the earpiece is right there.
If I had an earpiece, I want to be right here.
Right. Mine, I'd be out of luck.
Yeah.
You have been on the campaign trail questioning Tim Walz's military record. You say it was shameful that Governor Walz retired from the military before his unit deployed to Iraq. I want to read you something that Joe Eustace, who is a veteran, he served with Governor Walz, said. He said that's a lie. He said he was as good a soldier as you'll find. I'm not trying to defend him. I hope people don't think that. What I'm trying to do is defend someone who served his country. I'm not voting for him. I'll campaign against him. But I don't think it's fair to characterize his service the way they have.
Now, I served in the United States Marine Corps, and you know this. And look, there are a lot of things that I'm proud about. I've never lied about what I did or overstated it because it would be beneficial to me in an election. I think that's what Tim Walz did. That's what I was criticizing. And yes, I do think it's scandalous behavior.
You talked about one of the things that he said, weapons of war. He was talking in a campaign stop about, he was trying to talk about gun control.
Sure.
And he said, weapons of war I carried in war. I will say that the Harris-Walz campaign did say that the governor misspoke there.
Sure.
Do you accept that?
He misspoke. Another word is that he lied about it, and he didn't correct the record for 15 years until he was put under political pressure because I called it out, Dana. Whatever you want to call it, a misspeaking.
Yeah, so it's because he called it out is the reason why it's now he misspoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the truth is that he just lied.
I mean, no one's saying that he didn't serve his country. I mean,
that's not it.
But even if you're on the left or the right, you're like, that is one thing that military people, you don't lie about going to a war.
So we have a lot of military subscribers.
Yeah.
And they are very, like when this subject comes up, and I don't even blame them. Anytime you try to embellish your history in the military or whatever your time in the military, like it's really frowned upon. And so I think it's fair. He was a Marine.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair for him to get criticism for that.
I think it's honorable to serve, but obviously a lot of people have reasons for not serving. I criticize somebody for embellishing their record, for lying, saying I went to war. Dana, do you think that it's a problem that he said I went to war, but he didn't actually? That seems to be a problem to me.
Well, they've corrected that. Let's move on to...
They've corrected it by admitting that he lied.
Let's move on to another important issue.
Okay, you've now asked me 3 questions about comments that I made 3 years ago. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she supported policies that opened the American southern border. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she lied to the American people about Joe Biden's middle facility for the office. You are interviewing me, Dana, because I respect the American people enough to sit down for an interview.
I appreciate that.
Kamala Harris has been the nominee for 3 weeks. She hasn't sat down for a real interview.
Believe me, we are asking. You're not going to get a disagreement there.
Believe me, we are asking.
The left-wing media can't get the left-wing politician to sit down and talk with them. Like, that is how bad Kamala Harris really is that you can't even talk to your own people.
Wow.
Without you may make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by is that's the kind of confidence they actually have in her. Mm-hmm. They don't think that her own party doesn't think that she's strong enough to sit with people that are going to agree with her.
Right.
Question,
please.
And I can't believe I have to ask you this, but I do, because Donald Trump has been attacking Kamala Harris's racial identity.
He has not been, but ask your question.
Well, he questioned her racial identity. He said a number of years ago she happened to turn black. Her father is Jamaican. Do you believe Kamala Harris is black?
I believe that Kamala Harris is whatever she says she is, But I believe importantly that President Trump is right that she's a chameleon. She pretends to be one thing in front of one audience. She pretends to be something different in front of another audience. Look, Dana, she's not running a political campaign. She's running a movie. She only speaks to voters behind a teleprompter. Everything is scripted. She doesn't have her policy positions out there. She hasn't answered why she wanted to ban fracking, but now she doesn't. She wanted to fund police, but now she doesn't. She wanted to open the border, but now she doesn't. She should have to answer for why she presents different.
I like that he called it a movie. She's not running a campaign, she's running a movie.
Right.
Because that is true, because it's all like optical here, right? So we're all supposed to just
watch the movie.
Watch the movie. Yeah.
Get the popcorn and watch. But you know, if you watch
very
everyone
interesting
is
thing.
questioning her ethnicity because
Yeah.
her father is Jamaican, but not Jamaican black. He's Jamaican, he's Indian and Irish.
Yeah.
I think. Now, Judge Joe Brown, he does a great breakdown because he deep dived into her and who her parents are. He says she has no trace of black in her.
Yeah.
Her mother is Indian. And her father is Indian and Irish, I think. So she's not black. They keep using the word Jamaican because there's a lot of Asians in Jamaica.
Yeah.
A lot. And so we all think, even Bob Marley was really light skinned.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? But Jamaica is just is not just full of black people.
And people
So
think
that's where
that it's
they
not.
won't say that they won't say like, they keep saying her father's Jamaican, but they're not breaking down of what Jamaican he is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of white Jamaicans there. You know, so again, he's right. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's all just camouflage and sort of deep fake. Like, I mean, it's not real. She's not real.
Yeah. This is not happening.
But they want so badly for her to be black. They want her to be a chameleon. They want us to think that this woman is black and she's not black. And I did think, when they said Jamaican, I did think, me too. I thought she was black, but then I realized that, I actually know Jamaicans that aren't black.
Yeah.
Because I lived in New York. Danielle and I lived in New York for 10 years.
Jamaicans
So I know a lot of Jamaicans that are not black. And I never even, for some reason, when they just said it, her mother's Indian, her father's black, I thought, oh, okay, well, she's just, and I was like, oh, wait. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I forget.
Jamaican?
Yeah.
Oh, that's different.
Right.
To me, again, it wouldn't even be important. But the problem is that she's pandering to black people.
Right.
So pandering hard to black people, and she previously said that she was Asian American, or South Asian American. You know, and she
ran on that.
Yeah, she always stood by when she ran for senator.
Tell the truth then.
Yeah, running for senator, running for president. When she ran for that was always the background. So I guess the when people say, well, why is that important? It's only important because she's saying that she's something that she's not, and she's also pandering to the very people that she is saying that she's not. Right. So it's kind of like that. That's why it's kind of important. I think that they would prefer this distraction about race and, you know, Tim Walz and all that. I think they would prefer this distraction of the race talk, because if you distract someone with this race talk and get them all in a huff with that, people talking about that, then she never has to really tell us her policy, because there is none.
Yeah.
There is no policy.
A different set of policies to one audience and a different set of policies to another audience. And I think that's what President Trump is getting at. This is a fundamentally fake person. She's different depending on who she's in front of.
With respect, you
Please.
changed your position on an important thing, which is Donald Trump.
Of course I did.
And so
I'm
why are
honest
you not a
about it.
chameleon?
Because, Dana, I've explained to the American people what's different. People change their minds when the facts change. They should. But if you want to be the people's vice president or president, you should have to stand before an interviewer and say, this is why I changed my mind. So to everybody who's seen that I criticized Donald Trump, since he asked the question, here are two things.
You didn't just criticize him. You said he could be America's Hitler.
Well, that's a criticism, and I didn't say that exactly, but set that to the side. What I said about Donald Trump and what I believed about Donald Trump, two things that really changed. First of all, I didn't think Donald Trump would be a good president. He was a great president. Wages were rising. The world was more peaceful. Remember, when Donald Trump was running for president the first time, they said he would start World War III. He brought more peace to the world than any president of my lifetime. The second thing, Dana, is I believed, and I'm ashamed of it, I believed a lot of the media lies about Donald Trump in 2016. I believe that he said things like, for example, the media said Donald Trump accused all Mexicans of being rapists and criminals. You actually look at what he said, he did not say that at all. And I think it's important when you see something, you change your mind, and that's all I've done. And my pitch to the American people would be, I imagine a lot of folks who are thinking about voting for Donald Trump in 2024, maybe they've bought in to the media lies about him. Think for yourself, look at what he actually said, and I think you'll find that he's, one, a very engaging guy, but two, was a very good president.
There aren't media lies. We play him and we let him speak for himself. And
She said that with a straight face.
Yeah.
There aren't media lies. Are You see what I'm saying, y'all?
And she also,
come on.
you know, and she also made them look, the media look really bad.
Yeah.
She looks like a liar.
Yeah.
Like she's not even, her poker face is awful.
Yeah.
Here. It's like, well, you lie. And I can't believe they even showed her face
Yeah.
when she said that. But the truth is that he is true. I didn't vote for Donald Trump when he was first running.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I didn't know enough about him, and I certainly wasn't going to vote for Hillary Clinton. But he did do well, very well.
Yeah. It's shockingly
to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people felt like him, like, you know, like they believe the media lies, or people who didn't believe the media lies, but they just didn't think like a business guy that was on, you know, you're fired.
Yeah.
That whole thing, you know, could actually run a country, but he did very, very well. And I think like it changed you. It changes your perspective, you know, and
I mean,
so she's trying to make it seem like people also can't change their mind, which is another thing. I don't understand that when people say, well, you said that, well, right, but he obviously changed his mind. He's his running mate now.
Yeah, even like when we first started our show, like we weren't, I think we were liberals. Like we were Bernie people. Like we were into the Bernie stuff, right? And we keep those videos up, by the way. We keep those videos up. Let me tell you why. Because I believe that when you start to get informed about something and you start to educate yourself on something and you realize that you were actually wrong, I think it's important to keep that stuff up so you can then go to admit, like we've done, I was completely wrong about that. The way the left was thinking and all the stuff that I've looked up, you know, like it's just, you know, just the more I've learned, the more I realize I was incorrect.
So people are getting exactly.
I'm not accusing you of lying, Dana. You know I like you, but
no,
the
I know
media
you're
lies
not.
from time to
I
time
know you're
about
not, but
Donald Trump.
people hear him for himself. Last question.
Please.
Are you going to debate Tim Walz?
Of course. I want to debate Tim Walz. I think it's important, and I think that it goes to a very fundamental difference between the Trump-Vance ticket and our opposition. We believe in talking to the media. We believe in answering questions. We believe in debating. I think it's really important. I mean, look, I'm asking the American people to make me their vice president. It's really important to stand before the American people to make that case, and I'm going to keep on doing it in whatever forum I get the opportunity. So
We look
thank
forward
you.
to it. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for
Dana.
sitting down and taking my questions.
Of course. Thank you for coming here.
Because you see, she kind of, at the end of there, she kind of just abruptly, okay, thank you for coming. Like while he was still talking.
Yeah.
And it's just like in her ear, they were like, okay, this is not good.
Get out of there.
Get in this
Yeah,
right now.
and she's right, and they're right. This is not good.
It isn't good. This was horrible for her, not for him. It made him look great.
Right. So let us know what you think about all this. We'd love to hear your thoughts.